Let's go back to one of our leading stories where a family of 5 people has been shot dead in Bityi in the Eastern Cape. According to police, the victims were asleep in 2 different houses in the yard when 2 unknown gunmen killed them on Friday night. For more on the story, I'm now joined by Khusela Rantjie, who's an Eastern Cape government spokesperson. Khusela, good to have you on the program despite the circumstances. Can you provide an update really on this ongoing investigation into the tragic incident in Bityi? And what steps are being taken to ensure justice for the victims?
Good afternoon to you and to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. It is really a sad day once again for the Eastern Cape. You would understand that we are now on week 3 of these tragic incidents happening specifically in the area of OR Tambo District Municipality. As the provincial government, we are sending our deepest condolences to the families of that lost their loved ones. It's a shocking event. It's a shocking incident, not only for those families, but for the rest of the people of the Eastern Cape. I understand that most of people will really be outraged, and as government, we are also as outraged as those communities. It can't be that our communities are feeling this unsafe at this time. And as government, we are happy that the South African Police Service has immediately acted on this, and they have added resources that would be focused on hunting those that are responsible for this tragic incident. And we're hopeful that their manhunt will bring about results, and those that are responsible for this incident will be brought to book in no time.
I want to expand on your sentiment around echoing the community's own outrage. How's the local community there reacted to this shocking event, to take from your words? And what measures are being put in place to really support them during this difficult time? What does that look like?
It's really a tragic one, and as I speak to you now, the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Premier Babalo Oscar Mabuyane, is in the area of Bityi, visiting those families, and having engaged with those families, government will then also look at what other measures can be taken to ensure that we bring about some level of normality in this area. You would also understand that the area of Bityi in the last couple of years was affected by incidents of this nature, and through interventions of the South African Police Services, the deployment of police on the ground, the addition of resources brought about some normality. And we are shocked now to see that once again this is coming up, and we are hopeful that Premier, having engaged with those communities and having seen what is happening on the ground, will then take the necessary steps in terms of engagements with both the provincial subs and the Minister of Police, so that government can get to the bottom of this, and we get to understand what more could be happening that is leading to incidents of this nature, specifically in this area of OR Tambo.
Khusela, to take from your words, you described it as a sad day, as we are seeing a recurring theme of these type of incidents the 3rd week in a row now. In light of such an incident, while we do acknowledge that these incidents are also not connected, what actions is the provincial government considering to really enhance safety and security, especially in vulnerable areas just like Bityi?
I think it's calling for additional measures, and as I've said, that there is a need for provincial government to engage with subs in the province as well as the national office, so that we can together look at what more can be done to ensure that we manage these situations. We not only to react to incidents of crime, but we are able to detect such incidents. And I think part of what would need to be looked at is the increase in the number of guns that you would think that are in our communities, and perhaps there's a need for some interventions in terms of that area, so that if we are dealing with a situation where there's an increase in illegal guns in our communities, the police need to intervene and perhaps implement some raids in various areas so that we can take these guns out of our communities. You would understand that all three areas where these incidents have happened, it's really rural areas, and it gives you some discomfort when you think about it deep. And we need to then, as provincial government led by the Premier, we need to ensure that we look into this deeper, and having investigated the incidents, we then take the necessary steps in terms of intervening, not only in Bityi, but look at other areas as well in our province, and we look at measures that can bring about peace in those areas. In the last couple of years, I must also add that government, part of what has been happening is to make sure that we open rural police centers or satellite offices of police in rural communities to make sure that communities have ease of access to law enforcement officers. And perhaps we need to also look at those additional measures and also look at what more needs to be done to make sure that the province and its people feel safe once again.
Khusela, you spoke about the issue of, or concerns being raised about just the number of illegal guns being found in some of these areas that we are discovering. But in your view, are there other underlying issues, if you will, that contribute to violent incidents like this one in the Eastern Cape? And how can these issues indeed be addressed?
I think we need to, you would understand that in Lusikisiki already, those that are linked to that incident have been arrested. In Congo, those that are linked, some of those that are linked to the incident have been arrested. And we are hoping that police can, having engaged with those that have been arrested, bring up some additional information that can give us a clearer picture of what we are dealing with in this time. Is it the issue of stock theft as it used to be in those areas? Is it an issue of drugs? We need to get to the bottom of it so that our interventions are linked directly to what the causes of these incidents is in our rural communities.
But beyond immediate law enforcement responses, just like what we're seeing right now, what longer-term strategies is the government indeed considering to prevent similar tragedies in the future?
You would understand that in the week leading up to the incident in Lusikisiki on a Friday, that Friday of the Lusikisiki incident, as the provincial government, we were in the Nelson Mandela Bay working with the Minister of Police, wherein we're launching a cooperation agreement between the national office, the provincial office, as well as the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. And the intention was to spread that cooperation agreement or extend it to other parts of the province. And it's basically looking at how these three spheres of government, working with all of society, working with business and other interested individuals, can bring about together their resources to ensure that we strengthen the policing, we strengthen the management of crime, including the detection of crime. We are then looking into such strategies and bringing them beyond the area of Nelson Mandela Bay Metro where it was launched. So those are some of the things that are there on the ground that government is working on. And as I said before, having looked at this, what has happened in these last 3 weeks, indeed, I do think that there is a need for national government as well as provincial government to come back to the table and look deeply into these issues and answer the question of what next need to be done to make sure that we arrest these situations both in the short term and as well as in the long term, to make sure that indeed people in our province do feel safe and are safe at all material times.
Perhaps remind us about the next steps concerning this particular incident, the more recent incident. What support services are available, especially for survivors, particularly those 2 injured children and any other family members affected by this violence?
All of government is going to work towards supporting those families, including ensuring that the survivors are kept safe, and there is psychosocial support that is provided to the families and extended to perhaps the broader community, wherein people would still feel that this has really disturbed them emotionally. So that's what needs to be happening in the immediate, just making sure that those people or those families do get that type of support. And I'm sure that, as I said before, that the Premier is already in Bityi and engaging and visiting those families and engaging with the communities. And as provincial government, perhaps by end of business tomorrow, we will be able to detail what level of support we will be providing to those communities, as we have done in other communities that were faced with similar incidents. As the incident came about, we were in Qumbu as a provincial government, where we were bearing 4 of the survivors or of the victims of the Qumbu incident, and we will look into those issues, working again with society, working with business people in the area of Bityi, ensuring that those victims do get some dignified send-off when they are buried. But of course, families will have to be at the forefront in terms of determining the level of support that they require from government.
We heard from the National Police Commissioner on this platform saying that they are hot on the heels of suspects who may be linked to this recent incident. But how can members of the public also contribute to this investigation or support efforts to enhance community safety?
It's always our call that community members need to support the efforts of the police. As we've seen in Lusikisiki, police were able to get to those that were behind that incident quite quickly due to the contribution of community members. And as a provincial government, we are once again calling on the community of Bityi and the people of the Eastern Cape to support the police, bring any information that they may have in terms of this latest incident to the police, so that the police can follow up on those leads and bring the perpetrators of this tragic incident to book.
To expand that thought, and also as we wrap up, what message would you like to convey, especially to residents of Bityi and the Eastern Cape, regarding safety issues and government's commitment to justice there?
Once again, I think it's important to send our condolences to those families. And as the provincial government, we got the message through SAPS that they have deployed the necessary resources to make sure that this incident is thoroughly investigated. And we are standing with the people of Bityi as government, and we will support them through this incident and beyond this incident, to make sure that there are interventions in place that would bring about peace, that would remove criminal elements from their community.
Khusela, let me thank you for your time. That's a government spokesperson in the Eastern Cape, Khusela Rantjie, sharing her insights regarding the most recent incident, where what we've learned is that a family of 5 people have been shot dead in Bityi in the Eastern Cape.